and their attorney general, the state of Texas versus the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the state of Georgia, the state of Michigan, and the state of Wisconsin. This lawsuit, again, at the filing at the U.S. Supreme Court.
This is the most significant of the cases filed, and it's the most significant because it is, as Jordan just said, completely outcome determinative. What does that mean? It means that if the court were to rule in favor of Texas, those four states, the states named in the complaint, would in fact have their state legislatures determine the outcome. They would pick the electors.
This case now invokes the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, which means states can sue states for violations of law or claims that they have in the Supreme Court of the United States. The Supreme Court does not have to accept the case. It's discretionary.
In all of these states, we have elections that are at variance with their own statutory rules. That's number one. But number two, in Pennsylvania in particular, the Secretary of State made an affirmative representation to the United States Supreme Court suggesting that ballots would be segregated that were challenged. She failed to comply.
This comes on the day that electors are being seated. And then next week on the 14th, they will vote. So this all has to happen very quickly. But this is extremely significant because the state, Texas, has the jurisdiction to go right to the U.S. Supreme Court. It's part of the original jurisdiction of Article 3 of the U.S. in the Constitution against filing against these states.
What this is saying is you violated equal protection of the law in the way you conducted, you states who are defendants, in the way you conducted your elections. You diluted the electoral votes of the Texas people, and you therefore violated the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution.
The court in Bush versus Gore had argument on the briefs were finished up around the 10th or 11th. Argument was done on the 12th. Decision came out on the 13th or thereby, maybe a day off. And then the electors met. This, if accepted, and they have jurisdiction, I mean, it's original jurisdiction. What original jurisdiction means is that it's not a situation where I file a petition for a certiorari because I've gone from the district court to the Court of Appeals to the Supreme Court. The case from Texas, different from Mike Kelly's case, went directly to the Supreme Court of the United States and lays out very clearly all of the legal issues that have to be addressed.
What's important to point out here is that one of the options is that if the electoral college votes aren't redistributed through new electors by state legislatures, Congress gets involved. And even though the House is controlled by Democrats, they don't control state delegations.
This is even a greater majority, so to speak, than it was last Congress. Last Congress, Republicans only controlled 26 delegations, and there was one tie. Jordan, now they're going to control 27, and two of them are going to be tied. So essentially, that's a 27 to 21 delegation advantage. If it goes to Congress, President Trump would certainly have the advantage.
As John Adams says, and as is quoted, by Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas, that form of government which is best contrived to secure an impartial and exact execution of the law is the best of republics. In other words, follow the law in your state.
Unlike the situation where Justice Alito was the circuit justice for the Third Circuit, which included Pennsylvania, and could issue the initial administrative stay, which he did in our case, and he did in this Congressman Kelly's case, and then it refers to the court. This is a bill of complaint. You would have to have 5 justices agree to accept the bill. Now, could Chief Justice Roberts issue an administrative order pending this? Of course, he's the Chief Justice of the not just the Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court. He is the Chief Justice of the United States. So yes, he could issue an order, but it wouldn't be, the determination as to who is going to take the case rests with the 9 justices.
This is a critical suit, folks. This is an important piece of litigation. Forget all the other suits, that have been filed in other jurisdictions for the moment. This is now before the Supreme Court of the United States. This court will determine one way or another what's going to happen in this election.
I think it's important for you to understand this single case is outcome determinative.